Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is the confessions subreddit, or true off my chest subreddit. I feel like these ones are always crazy, and they also both have updates. The title of the first story is I lied to my pick-me friend, and she got a tattoo based off of it. It's been about 2 years since this happened, but I just got confirmation from a friend who attended her tattoo appointment that it was because of what I said. The backstory. I, 25 female, was introduced to Peggy, fake name, 25 female, through a mutual friend. She had recently moved into a friend's neighboring apartment unit and was quickly introduced to our friend group, almost immediately. I could tell we weren't going to get along based off of some backhanded compliments that were given, but I decided that it was too quick to judge her fairly and invited her to a game night that a friend and I were hosting. Huge mistake. Game 1. Sardines. During a drunken game of sardines in the dark, Peggy faked a fall and pushed my head into a shelf. How do I know she faked it? Because she literally told me in front of everyone and laughed about it, saying, quote, I found him first. That's why I pushed you. Game 2. King's Cup. Peggy called me out during the never have I ever portion for having gone through a divorce. Talking about it normally wouldn't have bothered me since everyone who was there already knew about it and were really supportive during that time. But it was the fact that she was trying to single me out and shame me for it. Throughout the rest of the night, this kind of behavior continued, and by the end, I was thoroughly convinced she had some sort of vendetta against me. Finding out what, or in my case, who it was, took almost no time at all. One of our friends, who we'll call Mark, was in attendance that first night. Mark, 28 male, is a tall, kind, funny, and generally attractive guy. Essentially, he's catnip for her type. At this time, we were pretty close friends, and Peggy did not like that. For the next 6 months, anytime he was around, I had to deal with the most ridiculous, awkward, and petty attempts of her trying to single me out or embarrass me. Now here's where the tattoo comes into play. I had been planning on getting a dragon tattoo for over a year. I'm fully aware that dragons are a common and trending tattoo, but I wanted it anyways because it was special to me and my mom. I had even worked with my tattoo artist on incorporating her favorite flowers into the piece and figuring out what kind of style / other details I wanted. About a month before my appointment, Peggy heard a friend and I talking about that tattoo and started asking questions. I swear I could see the moment the light bulb went off in her head because she grew the biggest shit-eating grin I've ever seen. My light bulb moment happened shortly after. When she asked where and what kind of dragon tattoo I wanted to get, I lied. I told her about how much I loved the movie Spirited Away, because I do. It's a banger. And went on a tangent about how I grew up on that movie, how my dad showed it to me, and that it would be cool if he was wrapping around my arm or something. If you haven't seen that movie, one of the main characters is a boy named Haku, who turns into a dragon. Peggy had never seen this movie before, so I encouraged her to check it out and ended the conversation there. Now, considering she had never seen it before, I didn't think she'd actually do it, but read it. She did. And it wasn't just a tiny, cutesy little thing either. She committed to my exact description. The thing is huge. When she showed it to me 2 weeks later, I was in shock. And she probably thought I was upset for taking something from me. But I went home that night and switched between feeling awful for lying to her and laughing for how utterly unbelievable she was for doing it. 2 years later, and I'm still doing that. I had confessed to a friend recently about my lie, and that's when she told me. She went to the tattoo appointment with Peggy that day, and word for word, Peggy had said, she's going to be so upset. This is the exact tattoo she wanted. Edit for frequently asked questions. One regarding the girl who went to the appointment with Peggy. We didn't become friends until after this all happened. At the time, we were only acquaintances, and she ended up dropping her as a friend for her own personal reasons after. We discovered later in our friendship our mutual distaste for Peggy. But this also wasn't the crux of our friendship. 2, neither her or I dated Mark. I had turned him down early in our friendship before she came into the picture. Don't get me wrong, Mark is a catch, but he deserves someone who's crazy about him, and that just wasn't me. We sorted out our friendship prior to this whole mess, and hopefully he can find a healthy middle ground of crazy, lol. He was pretty oblivious to the whole thing, and I didn't need him to sort it out for me, so he didn't know until way after. 3, Didn't know how to edit a post until now, but here you go. Face is blocked out for obvious reasons, but I don't follow her socials, so you guys will have to settle for her cropped profile picture. And she put the tattoo in. And it's honestly kind of a cool tattoo, so. But that's crazy to get that because of, in spite of someone. Like, that's insane. I'll put the picture in right now so that you guys can see it. Okay, there's an update. It's really short, but she said, "Holy F, I finally showed this post to the friend who went with her to the appointment, and she was kind enough to supply a picture of the tattoo in progress. The crazy thing is, she did this to her too with a tattoo commemorating her favorite music artist from her. Quote, I initially wanted the tattoo because he's literally my favorite artist, and so I sent my artist, the one you met, my reference photo, and she said she wanted to come because she was thinking about getting one too. So we get there, and he started doing my stencil and stuff, and when she saw, she said, oh my god, that's so cute. It would be so cool if we got matching tattoos. I, being excited and at this point having no issues with her whatsoever, was like, yeah, girl, it's your body. So I just was like, okay, and let it happen. I guess it's a memento for her. She got the exact same thing and exact same placement too. I'm so insanely scared of that. What is wrong with this woman? Like, genuinely, are you okay, girl? Probably not. Obviously not. The top comment says, your friend group sounds awful for keeping her around. Seems quite obvious she's harassing you, but they've got no problem with that. OP said some did, some didn't. But I didn't want to put in a bunch of effort to change anyone's mind who didn't care. I didn't pretend to like her either, so I figured it is what it is. And the annoying thing is that they wouldn't know about that. Like, they would just think that, oh, she actually likes that movie. Like, unless OP told them that story, they wouldn't know that's exactly what happened, you know. But that's insane. I mean, yeah, definitely don't tell someone, I guess, that like hates you or is like weird towards you what you want as a tattoo. I don't think it's bad of you at all for pretending and acting like that's the tattoo that you wanted, because look at what she did. She literally proved herself that like that was a good thing that you did that and that you told her a lie. So she went and got this fucking tattoo. Like, that's insane. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next story though. And the title is, When He Was Drunk, He Confessed That He Found Me Repulsive. My husband of 2 years, together for 5, and I were invited to my sister-in-law's birthday. We were having drinks and my husband was getting drunk. He doesn't usually drink, so he gets drunk easily. I love him when he's a little bit groggy because he's very shy otherwise and he let loose a little. My sister-in-law, husband's sister, calls herself incurably single, and she often laments about not meeting the one. She's very picky, and she's always pointing out the flaws of her dates. Well, she was doing that, and after complaining about her latest hookup, my husband interrupted her. He knew the guy in question, apparently, and he disagreed with how she, the sister, perceived the guy. They were sparring for a little, and everyone was laughing because my sister-in-law is a very funny lady, and so is my husband. Finally, my husband told her that she was very high maintenance and always concentrated on the negative things. He then said, to take him for example, he found me repulsive the first night we spent together, but he stuck it out and was determined to know me more instead of throwing me away because he's an adult now and needed to start acting like one. And now look at me. I'm the happiest man on earth. My sister-in-law laughed and told him that's not how she worked. I thought what he said was horrible, the most horrible thing anybody has ever said about me, and yet nobody who was listening seemed to react at all. Like, it was a totally normal thing to say, so I just said that I didn't know that's how he felt about me. I remember him going away on a trip the day after we slept together for the first time, and he wasn't available for 3 weeks. I started pondering, was he actually away, or did he just try to ghost me? On our way home, I asked him if he really went on that trip, and he smiled guilty and said, no, his plan was actually to not see me again, but there was something strong that made him contact me again, and that he was lucky he did because I turned out to be the love of his life. He was starting to fidget in his seat and asked if something was wrong, and asked, surely you're not hurt by what I said. I told him that it was the most appalling thing that I've ever heard. And to hear it coming from him, I haven't spoken to him since Saturday. I don't know if I want him anymore. We have a son together, 18 months, and a dog. I don't want to hurt our son. I'm trying to keep it together, but I just feel so numb. Will time heal something like this, or am I lying to myself? He says he's sorry, and he even cried when he saw me crying. And I only saw him crying once before when his dad passed away. I mean, yeah, I would feel the same way, girl. That's an insane, diabolical, maniacal thing to say. And in front of everyone as well. Makes it 20 times worse. I mean, I feel like you could definitely go to therapy about this, but then at the same time, it's like, are you always going to be thinking about the fact that you repulsed him? Like, he had to use that word. He thought that that was fine. That's crazy. He thought it was fine to say that you repulsed him. Like, what does that even mean? That he thought that you were, like, disgusting and ugly? I would, no. No. But, like, you have a kid, so it's like if it was just, I was just dating this guy, I'd be like, probably goodbye. Most likely goodbye. It's definitely easier said than done, though. But, like, with a kid, I feel like it's worth it to at least try. If that's really the only thing that's, like, bad that's truly happened. But, like, I can't imagine that he doesn't say terrible things to you all the time if he thinks that that's, like, a normal, cool, calm thing to say. Someone commented, I think it will help you before you give him the silent treatment forever to find out what exactly was he was repulsed by. Then he can explain the hows and whys so you can try to understand if he truly meant you weren't my usual type and just used the wrong words because he wasn't exactly in his right mind, or if he was actually repulsed. That part would eat me alive. I'm so sorry you have to go through this because you were obviously happy until that moment. Good luck. OP said, he told me, I made him tell me what he thought was repulsive, and he said he thought the sex was repulsive. At the time, he thought it was the worst he ever had. One of the reasons was that I was too wet and sounded weird. He kept saying that's not what he thought now. Too wet. Okay, first of all, I fear that any straight man would be attracted by that. And that's crazy. That's crazy. I fear you just don't like Coochiana. I fear you just really maybe don't like Coochie. Maybe you're on the other team, or maybe you, what's that saying? Maybe you played for the other team. I don't know. Or maybe, yeah, that's really, which obviously, like, go off, King, but too wet and sounded weird is crazy. Yikes. Okay, there's an update. I don't know if this suffices as an update. I'm thankful for your support. I actually thought when I would write here, people would hate me and be against me because I'm moving too fast and throwing my marriage away too easily. You can't imagine how happy I am that many of you literally could put themselves in my shoes and see the hurt. Believe me, I know myself and I know my heart. This is neither fast nor impulsive. There's no coming back for me. Maybe it's my pride, and I know pride is a sin for many people, but for me, it was something that broke inside of me. And suddenly, I never want to be around my husband anymore. How could a marriage work when I can't even look at my significant other, and the very thought of him ever making love to me again makes me want to throw up? And the fact that he thought it was okay to announce to a room full of people, some of them not even his friends or family, that he thought me repulsive. How was that okay? Him sitting there trying to convince his sister that sometimes you have to give lesser people a chance because they could turn out to be the love of their life. I have a totally different view on our marriage. I never thought him to be too good to be with me, and vice versa. We've always been on the same level in my mind. Equals. He's moved out now. Our son is too little for shared custody, so he's staying with me until he's older. I don't know the details yet because I have an appointment with my lawyer on Monday. Right now, I just want to mourn. I feel like he should have told me what he felt and let me decide if I wanted to continue. Our marriage was built on a lie, and that he lured me in under false pretenses. I've spoken to my parents, brother, and his family, and they all support me. I'm lucky to have this love in my life. Or just don't ever say that. Like, just don't ever admit to that. I mean, that's just wild that he thought that was okay to admit. What? The top comment says, too wet? That's what was repulsive? sir, I wish you the driest vaginas from now on. And then someone said, my husband feels the same way. If I ever got too wet, it turned him off and he'd go flaccid. And that was it. I spent 18 years tamping down my desire to keep him happy. Tamping? What does that mean? After that, the way that I'm interpreting that as like she put tampons in so that she wouldn't be wet. Am I totally interpreting that wrong? And that just means something so not what I'm thinking. After that, he unilaterally cut off all intimacy and sex, told me sex is for teenagers, and if I insisted on having it, it would not be with him. New boyfriend was absolutely ecstatic at his luck of finding a WAP. Shrug, welcome to my username. I never knew sex could be like that. Don't be me, kids. I'm actually dead. Someone said, I don't know much about men, but it's my understanding that men love it when women have wet vaginas. So WTF is with this guy. And someone said, in some African cultures where FGM, I don't know what that is. Oh. Okay. Where FGM is practiced and sexual enjoyment is looked down upon for women, a dry vagina is seen as sexy. Women even buy gels to dry their vagina. Oh my God. Okay. I'm fucking scared of that. I'm actually terrified of that. Oh my God. Not female genital mutilation. Well, girl, I'm so glad that you got out of that. And I'm so glad that you found someone that actually appreciates you. Thank freaking God. We're going to move on to the advice/confessions segment of this episode. You can leave me a voicemail at 561-264-7017, and you can leave a confession or ask for advice. I always have to preface and say, obviously, as you can tell, unprofessional advice, okay? Seriously. So let's get into this voicemail.
Hey, so I'm going to try and get this all in one voicemail without getting too distracted, but I'm calling for some advice. I'll see a couple of voicemails before, so those are kind of messy. Let me keep myself organized here, but I'm having a difficult situation where I was in a really toxic relationship, and we've been no contact for 9 months. Things like ended on her terms, and the no contact was her choice, and I mention that because it's important. I'm glad that, she chose that because it helps me get better. Like, I know I'm in trauma therapy, and I, have built a good community around me that's helping me process a lot of the shit that happened, because, I genuinely cannot comprehend how someone could treat another person the way that I was treated. Anyways, it's just a lot. So we've been no contact, and unfortunately we go to the same university. And this year we're in the same classes. Now, I spoke to my professors already to make sure that we don't end up getting paired up in any capacity, and they were very understanding. I didn't give them a ton of details. I'm not going to character, assassinate this person to our professor. That's no. So I just want to make that clear. But unfortunately, we have to share all of our work in our classes shared meeting space online, I guess. And I'm a music student, and my ex used to always speak so terribly about my music, to the extent that I stopped playing. I didn't even sing for 3 years, and now I'm doing vocal therapy because whatever. I'm getting sidetracked. But because I have to share this stuff and it's my music, it is a little bit scary because she sees it, and I thought that things were going to be fine until she started interacting with my posts where I'm posting the music that I make. And it's not like she's going through and liking every student's thing or anything like that. So I don't know. I know that this shouldn't necessarily get under my skin, but I also can't like go and tell her to like leave me alone and to respect her own boundaries. Like it won't end well for me. Like I think she's someone that really loves to like twist my words and my intentions. So like I don't want to do that. And I'm working with my therapist to like try and see how I can move forward, but I would love some advice because obviously I can't, you know, confront her about this. And I'm not willing to, even if, you know.
Wait, okay, sorry, but I don't know where she's liking this stuff. Is it Instagram or something? Is it somewhere that you could possibly block her? Because that would probably be the best. Or is it like on like school forums or something? Is that what's happening? That's the only part that I'm confused about. Wait, okay, so I'm assuming this is on like, I don't know if this is on your page or not. But the number one thing that I would do is if this is on a social media where you could possibly block her and you don't have to see that she interacts with anything, I would 100% block her. Like genuinely just try to like cleanse her from your life altogether. And any social media platform you have her on, any contact that you have of her, her number, anything that you could possibly see of her that could remind you of her, or if she could somehow get like access to anything of yours, block her. Block, and more blocking. Because like you said, no contact helps so much. And no contact is like honestly one of the most I honestly feel like it's like the fast track to healing. It's just so good. No contact helps so much. And so I feel like no contact, I know you guys have to see each other, so that's obviously something that you can't really avoid because of the classes that you guys have together. But no contact also applies to social media and things like that. Like even creeping on her social media or like visiting her social media pages. I feel like that is also considered contact in some way. And honestly, like every possible way that you could cut her out of your life is no contact to like the next level, and that is going to help so much. Not having to see that and not having to see that she's now, obviously I don't know all the details, so like even this I'm not sure if it's possible, or if this is like something, I don't know, because even if she was liking like on, say, this is what I'm thinking in my head, like your school's music page is posting your stuff on there and she's like liking it. Well, even if you did block her, you still wouldn't be able to see that she was liking it. You know what I mean? So I feel like blocking her would be the best case scenario. Anything that reminds you of her, like seeing her name pop up somewhere, I'm sure is like annoying. It's that feeling of seeing that she's interacting with things like that hurts. So block. That's really all I can think of. I think your therapist definitely will help you the most with this, obviously, because I'm not a therapist. But yeah, that's the one thing I have to say. Keep working on yourself and loving yourself, and obviously realizing that she had some deeper rooted issues. If she was making fun of your music and talking shit about your music and stuff, that's just like the epitome of a terrible person who does that to their partner that they love. That's awful. And I can't even comprehend like how awful of a person you have to be to do that to someone that you love. So yeah, just keep focusing on healing and loving yourself and building up your confidence again, because I'm sure that relationship took a lot of hits to your confidence, and that's probably going to be the most important thing. But finding any ways to build up your confidence and working with your therapist, maybe ask her ways that you can do that, and block her. Block any, I know it's hard sometimes because sometimes you want to see a little bit what they're up to. Like sometimes you want to creep on them and sometimes it's like impossible not to, but no, block, Instagram, TikTok, like any possible platform you could see her on, block her. and like any family members or like super close friends that you're not friends with that would like post her that you're not friends with. Obviously, if you're friends with people that like she is friends with also, you can't really block your friends, but siblings, anything that's related to her, block it, and I think that will help a lot. But as always, I think time is the biggest healer, and you can always take steps every day to heal 1% more, or 0.5% more, or maybe sometimes you're going to be negative like that day, because it's going to ebb and flow. Time definitely heals, especially if you're during that time you're working on getting better and working with a therapist and working on building yourself back up. So I love you, and I hope that everything gets better for you, and I hope that you can really get over this relationship and this person. But anyways, thanks so much for calling in. I love you so much, and that's the end of this episode. Let me know what you guys thought about the stories, and then also if you have any advice for the call in. And remember to be kind, as always. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.